Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. In the headlines tonight, tributes to the backbone of the boxing community. A woman is assaulted in Hull, celebrations for companions and stepping back in time aboard a train or two. And I'll be joined on the surface tonight by Simon Forrest of the Samaritans ahead of Suicide Prevention Day. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday's programme with me, Luke Adams. First tonight, boxing promoter Joe Frater died over the weekend at the age of 76. Described as the backbone of the boxing community, he put on the first ever British title back in 1992 alongside boxing stalwart Len Slater. He came to Grimsby in 1962 after leaving Jamaica and became the country's first black boxing promoter. Frater quit his position as a promoter in 2010 to spend more time with his late wife Lynette, who was burnt after a fire at their home in 2008. He was also known for owning several car garages in the area, including Auto Body Panels, also known as Frater's Garage on Legsby Avenue in Grimsby. Officers are appealing for witnesses following a robbery in Hull yesterday afternoon. It happened on Lichfield Close when a 53-year-old woman was approached by two unknown women who allegedly assaulted her near a shop and knocked her to the floor. They took the contents of her purse, which included money and bank cards. The victim had no visible injuries, but she was left shaken by the incident. The first victim is described as white and in her early 30s with dark brown hair, wearing a burgundy bomber jacket and blue jeans. The second suspect is described as white, late 30s, with dark hair and wearing a black jacket and black jeans. Anyone who witnessed the incident or can help identify the suspects is asked to call Humberside Police on 101. Motorists are being warned not to leave their vehicles unsafe after a white Ford Fiesta was stolen after being left with the engine running. It follows an incident that happened in the early hours of Saturday morning in Wimborne Avenue in Grimsby after the owner started up the car and left it to warm up. A man with a beard riding a bike apparently jumped into the vehicle before driving off in the direction of Winston Avenue and Littlefield Lane. It was found abandoned the following day in a parking area off Elder View. A development is set to breathe new life into wasteland in an area of Hull. Local charity Emmaus have launched The Orchard, a purpose-built community that's home for up to 30 formerly homeless people known as companions. It was officially opened on Friday and we went along to join in the celebrations and started by asking how much of a difference this will make to the issue of homelessness in the city.
It will certainly help. It won't deal with it. It's a bit of a growing problem. The amount of affordable housing isn't growing particularly at the moment. Funding's quite hard to come by. So I think homelessness will become more and more of an issue and schemes like this will become more and more important. I would imagine this scheme will fill very, very quickly and there'll be need for new types of accommodation like this. The difference with this to many other schemes is that it provides an opportunity for people to get employment skills. And come off benefit dependency and move on in their lives, and that's what really is the kind of key to the Emmaus communities.
It's a big problem in every city. It's a problem in Hull now. It was eradicated during the 90s and now it's back. Talking to them and seeing if they're right, if they're willing to come into Emmaus. Then once they come here, there's the training and education program. They come here on the condition that they work 5 days a week. There's the superstore next door. They get all these skills, they get this training, and it starts with secure accommodation and it ends with independent living. So it's a right through from them sleeping rough on the streets to coming in here to working next door to going out the other end with their lives absolutely transformed. I mean, it's not me who does the work. I mean, Together Housing, Hull City Council, people in Emmaus like Pat Doyle, who was the guy who convinced me to come and be patron, and Kerry, who does all the hard work here. But what is inspiring is meeting 24 so far. There's room for another 6. We're just going through that. What they call companions in Emmaus, the people whose lives are being transformed. And we can transform many more people's lives over the years to come with this tremendous facility.
More than 70,000 visitors attended the 9th Freedom Festival in Hull this weekend. There were 200 performances and artists from over 30 countries across the three-day event, which included a helisphere featuring an acrobat floating beneath a hot air balloon. But the bad weather was to blame for 45,000 visitors less than last year, when 115,000 people turned out for the event. It started as part of the bicentenary celebrations of William Wilberforce, the Hull-born anti-slavery campaigner whose Act of Parliament abolished the slave trade in the British Empire. The festival has gone on to become a major arts event for the city that attracts major national and international attention, all in the name of freedom. Now, bus and rail travellers in Lincolnshire were recently given the opportunity to voice any issues they had with their public transport services at a mobile bus and rail surgery in Grimsby's town centre. A mobile information bus gave residents a chance to chat with members of North East Lincolnshire Council, as well as discuss the refreshed local transport plan. Fred went along to find out more by speaking to Adam Fowler.
Well, it's very important with any sort of public transport is to regularly engage with the public, find out what their views are, maybe concerns, it may be compliments, and that all feeds back. So sometimes it's about picking up an up-to-date timetable, sometimes it might be about making a suggestion, sometimes it might be about reporting problems. And what we're trying to do here is really engage with the public, find out what the issues are, and then if necessary we will feed back to the operators, and that benefits everybody, but ultimately it benefits the travelling public here in North East Lincolnshire. Well, it's very important to talk to the public and hear what they feel about the services that the operators provide, whether it's a bus company, whether it's a train company, and for us to understand what those issues are and then feed back to the travel operators. Sometimes it's about punctuality, sometimes it's just an inquiry about going further somewhere. So, or going the latest bus to Lincoln or Humberside Airport. This time of year we get lots of holiday requests where people may be flying from a local airport and maybe not used a bus before, or it could be regular passengers as well. So we get a whole host of inquiries really.
The Lincolnshire Wolds Railway is no stranger to hosting their annual 1940s weekend, and last week's event proved bigger and better than ever before. Steam engines, classic military vehicles and reenactment groups took over the station, bringing an otherwise calm, tranquil area of Lincolnshire into a thriving hub celebrating the 1940s. Fred puffed into the station to find out more.
Lincolnshire Wolds Railway's 1940s weekends are becoming more and more popular with each year. But last weekend was a particularly special event. Saturday the 3rd marked 77 years since France, New Zealand, Australia and the United Kingdom declared war on Germany after their invasion of Poland. The occasion was remembered on this quiet, secluded railway tucked away deep in the Lincolnshire Wolds, where they spent the weekend celebrating a bygone era of travel and culture.
We've had these now for about the last 10 years and it seems to get bigger each year. We get people come from, well, county, all over the county and beyond really for this event. We have to turn out the field that we normally use for parking. We use that for all the various events and attractions that are going on, and we use a farmer's field on the other side of the railway for parking because we have to accommodate a lot more cars. There's a lot of nostalgia about it, isn't there? I mean, some people, you know, obviously the older generation still remember those days, but even to youngsters it's probably quite fascinating. I mean, we get an awful lot of youngsters come here who've never been on a train, full stop, never mind a steam train. The majority of us are retired people by nature, and we've got more time on our hands. We have got a small group of very dedicated youngsters who are very keen, and they're the people that we need more of basically, because obviously the generation that are running it now won't be able to carry on forever, and we need younger people to take over. I mean, we've got some really keen youngsters who, some of them come here when they're still sort of 8-9 years old, and they've stuck at it, and they're still here now, and they're in their 30s. So they're the people that we need more of.
Yeah. I am a past cleaner, but I am now a trainee fireman on the steam locos.
So what do you think is perhaps the best thing about being a volunteer?
Getting mucky.
Do you like going on the trains then?
Yeah.
Really good?
Yeah. You're learning stuff every day.
The weekend spanned more than the railway, however, with rescue and military vehicles sharing the limelight, as well as reenactment groups rubbing shoulders with our allied forces.
Being a 1940s thing, the organisers like to have both sides of the picture. And of course, as we've got British and American on the other side, they always like to have the opposition on the other side of the road, so to speak, so people can get both sides of it. Obviously, if it wasn't raining, we'd all have a lot more kit out.
Yeah. But sadly not today.
Not today, I'm afraid. Not at the moment, anyway.
Well, I think it's a great tourist attraction. I mean, we keep hearing about how important tourism is to the county, and I think this railway is now making a big contribution to that. I mean, it's been proven. We've done a bit of research ourselves, getting people to say, questionnaires about where they've come from and so on, and we know that people come from great distances to travel here, and people have said that they find that this railway, so it's small but it's very friendly, and they get such a good reception from the volunteers that work here, and people can book that online. You can do it on our website. If I can mention the website address, it's www.lincolnshireworldsrailway.co.uk, and you can book your tickets on there and get it all sorted out.
Lincolnshire Worlds Railway remains one of the area's star attractions on any regular day, but the 1940s weekends remain a yearly highlight. With little outside assistance, the LWR insist on putting on a stellar show that captures the spirit of the era, and this year's event met with resounding success, breathing new life into an ageing period of time. Fred McNamara, Estuary News.
Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Simon Forrest joins me on the sofa to talk about suicide prevention, and Dan brings us all the latest sports news. Apologies for the technical difficulties experienced during Fred's 1940s package just before the break. More of the day's news now, and preparations for a £3 million project to regenerate an area of Scunthorpe have got underway. The current proposals for the Albert Marston Court area are to replace the flats with new build 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom houses, subject to planning permission being granted. The new homes will vastly improve the area and fill the gap for affordable housing. A public consultation event will be taking place next Wednesday between 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Glennie's Bar on Cottage Beck Road to seek views and comments from neighbours to present the proposal for planning permission. Next this afternoon, this week sees Zero Waste Week, and East Lincolnshire Council's waste team are out and about to offer hints and tips on recycling. This year's theme is Use It Up and focuses on food waste, where householders can potentially save up to £60 a month. The aim of the event is to encourage participants to shop smarter, rethink waste and reduce landfill. The team will be at Grimsby's B&Q Superstore on Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. From TV to radio now, albeit briefly, as Grimsby Hospital will be broadcasting from the town centre on Saturday. The station will be live from the Freshney Place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, with the broadcast being heard by patients in the hospital. They'll be aiming to raise as much money for the radio station as possible, as well as taking requests from shoppers. So if anyone has a loved one in hospital and wants to brighten their day, they can dedicate a song to them. People of all ages and abilities are about to embark on a fundraising event this Sunday to raise awareness of suicide. The sponsored walk and talk event will take place in Scunthorpe to mark Suicide Prevention Day on Saturday in partnership with Samaritans. The charity receives more than 5 million calls a year through 201 branches across the UK and Republic of Ireland. I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Simon Forrest, Samaritans Deputy Director for Outreach in the Scunthorpe area, to tell me more about the vital work of the charity. Simon, thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you.
Why was this event, first of all, set up on Sunday?
Okay, well, it's actually not on Suicide Prevention Day, which is on Saturday, and that's actually an international day.
Okay.
The reason we've set it up on Sunday is we actually think that we'll get more volume of people coming along. You can come along to Central Park in Scunthorpe. It's actually a really good opportunity to think about walking and talking. Two great activities, but we probably don't do enough of either of them.
That's right.
And actually talking is what it's all about.
So fusing two very important elements of life together there, walk and talk.
Exactly that.
Central Park, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, suicide. How big an issue is suicide in this country, Simon?
Well, if I was to say massive, I don't think I would be wrong. I mean, if you're between 20 and 34,
Okay.
it is actually the biggest killer
Okay.
in the UK.
Okay.
And if you're under 50 and a man, it is the biggest killer.
So more so than women?
More so, three times more men take their own lives than women.
That's quite staggering, isn't it,
Yeah,
really? I mean, is there a statistic what determine why the male gender are more prone to suicide than female, Simon?
Well, I mean, there's lots of factors, Luke, I think. But the biggest one for me, as a Samaritan, I find when I'm talking to men, is that men struggle to talk about their feelings.
Okay.
They really struggle to talk about difficult things in their lives. They bottle things up. And unfortunately, that can mean that when they do something about it, in fact, it is taking their own lives, which is obviously the ultimate thing for you to do to escape the world. But it's got to be really, really bad for you to take your own life.
If
obviously.
someone is experiencing difficulties,
Yeah.
what advice, as someone working for the charity, would you give?
Right. Well, I mean, the important thing is to talk about it. And,
Openly?
Especially if you're a man.
Yes.
Well, when openly might be really difficult.
Okay.
I mean, one of the special things about the Samaritans is that if you talk to us, we don't share it with anybody outside the Samaritans.
Okay.
And that's more or less whatever you talk about.
Of course.
And most of the people who call us, they don't give us their names. We don't know who they are, so they're assured of confidentiality.
And that will help people, won't they, in the hour of need, that confidential service where people can be purely anonymous and come to you at a time when they need it.
Absolutely. I mean, people have got some difficult things to talk about that maybe they feel weak. Maybe they feel they should be stronger and not have these challenges in their head. By actually ringing us at the Samaritans, they know that they're not going to be judged.
Fantastic.
And we really don't judge anybody who calls us. They will know that we will listen to them very carefully.
For as long as is needed. Now, to keep the charity running, Simon, you're looking for volunteers. How can people pledge some of their free time to get involved with the charity?
Well, thanks, Luke, because that's a good opportunity. Around this area, we've got Hull branch, we've got Scunthorpe branch, and we've got Grimsby branch.
Okay.
I come from Scunthorpe branch. We all need volunteers. We talk to people nationally, but the important thing is that we get together in our branches.
Okay.
And each of those branches is looking for volunteers all of the time.
To man the branches in the respective areas in our region.
Absolutely. We always have two people working together because we really believe in supporting each other. It can be very difficult listening to the stories that people have about their lives and the challenges. So we really make sure that anybody who's a volunteer gets lots of support from the organisation. We also give a great training programme as well, which is excellent. I mean, I was talking to one of our recent volunteers on Saturday about this, and they said it was brilliant, and that's the word they used, and I think it is.
So people
brilliant.
can receive comprehensive training to feel fully versed with the role which they would undertake as a volunteer with the charity.
And then they're supported in that role, always. Even when they're experienced, they're always supported.
Fantastic.
And the best way to become a volunteer or to look into it is to actually look in our website.
Okay.
So I would just say go into a search engine, put in Samaritans and volunteering, and it will be absolutely at the top. You won't go
Simon,
anywhere else.
very quickly, what is the telephone number people can ring the Samaritans on?
Right. If you've got a problem, ring us on 116 123. Absolutely free from any landline or mobile phone.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Simon, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on the surface today.
Thank you very much.
Now we head across to the sports desk for all the latest news in the world of sport, courtesy of Dan.
Hull City midfielder Robert Snodgrass scored a hat-trick last night in Scotland's demolition of Malta. He opened the scoring for the Tartan Army with a deflected strike before putting away a penalty and a tap-in late on. The goals came in the 5-1 World Cup qualifying win, which also featured Tigers defender Andrew Robertson and deadline day signing goalkeeper David Marshall. Meanwhile, David Mailer is in the Republic of Ireland squad for their first World Cup qualifier in Belgrade tonight. They take on Serbia as they look to follow on from their strong showing at Euro 2016, where they went out in the last 16 to hosts and eventual finalists, France. Over 2,300 Grimsby Town fans made the trip to Notts County on Saturday to see their side lose a 2-goal lead. Sean Pearson scored his first ever Football League goal and was joined by Omar Bogle on the score sheet, but a late rally from County saved them a point. It means the Mariners now have 7 points from their opening 6 games. Elsewhere in the National League, North Ferriby United continued their run of away losses. The Villagers have made the Eon Visual Media Stadium a fortress thus far, having lost just 1 game there, but they've still failed to pick up a single point on their travels after Saturday's 2-0 loss at Eastleigh. United are now down in 20th. On to rugby, Hull FC vice-captain Danny Houghton has become the 3rd Black and Whites player to be awarded the Super League Player of the Month award this season. He made a famous last-ditch try-saving tackle at the Challenge Cup final a fortnight ago and won the poll by a landslide majority. Scott Taylor and Mark Sneed both also picked up the accolade since the start of the campaign. Hull Kingston Rovers' hopes of being in the Super League next season were dealt a blow as they lost to Championship side Leigh Centurions. The Robins are now just 2 points ahead of the London Broncos, who sit 5th with 3 games to go. The game ended at 25-18. And finally for now, in ice hockey, it was a mixed weekend for the Hull Pirates as they played home and away against the Telford Tigers. Hull won the first game at home on Saturday 3-2 before suffering a heavy 12-3 loss off home ice. And that's all from the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv. You can also phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number 01472 31553. That's 01472 31553. You can also put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. Thank you very much to my guest Simon Forrest for joining me on The Surface today, and as always, thank you for watching. If you would like to become a volunteer with the Samaritans, log on to www.samaritans.org.uk. Started back in 1953 by Chad Vare of Barton, a local man indeed. Join me same time tomorrow for more of the day's news. Have a great Tuesday evening from all of us on the team. Good evening.
University courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. This evening it's going to see any cloud fading away, leaving a dry night and clear spells for most of it, with only light winds, the odd patch of mist or fog, and minimum temperatures of 10 degrees. Tomorrow, cloud will soon thicken through the morning, rain arriving by the afternoon, this perhaps persistent and heavy in places and continuing into the evening, with maximum temperatures of 19 degrees.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening. You're watching Estuary News. In the headlines tonight, a man and woman are found dead in Grimsby, how you can help shape the future of Hull's old town, Peer of the Winner year goes on sale, and Pirates at the Park. And I'm joined on The Surface tonight by Darren Catt from the Grimsby Institute as a new academic term gets underway. Welcome to Tuesday's programme with me, Luke Adams. First tonight, a man and a woman have been found dead at a property in a village near Grimsby. The 55-year-old man and 46-year-old woman were discovered at Bude Close in New Waltham shortly after 4 a.m. today. An investigation has been launched to establish the circumstances of their deaths, although homicide police have stated they're not looking for anyone else in connection with the incident. A cordon has been put in place at the scene and a forensic examination will now be undertaken. Next this afternoon, a 37-year-old man remains in custody following an incident in Ancombe Avenue in Immingham last night. Officers successfully removed a man with a firearm from a property in the street at 7:45 p.m. following almost 5 hours of negotiations. A number of firearms were recovered and made safe, and the suspect has been arrested on suspicion of criminal damage, making threats to life and under Section 16 of the Firearms Act. No one was hurt as a result of the incident, but officers are keen to piece together the events leading up to it. They're particularly keen to speak to anyone who saw a dark-coloured Vauxhall Vectra being driven in the area in an erratic manner from 2:30 p.m, and they're asked to call homicide police on 101. An £800,000 grant scheme has been unveiled today to try and improve Hull's Old Town. The City Council are inviting anyone with a business idea to come forward to earn their share of the funding as they strive to improve the area for Hull's year as City of Culture. Gary Taylor is head of major projects.
What we want to do is create that eclectic mix which makes cities really quite interesting. So really it's how I previously outlined. It's, you know, if you're bringing a business into the city and you're doing up an old building, please put a bid in. If you're setting up a new business and you need a bit of money, Acorn money to set up that business as a grant, there will be cross-checks and measures, but again, please put a bid in because we're looking to really create a thriving community in the heart of the city.
It's about offering assistance and support to new businesses that might want to start up in the Old Town, and so the grant's available for that, and also existing businesses that want to improve their property. So this is one strand of the work that we've got to do in the Old Town to regenerate and invest in it and bring it back to its wonderful beauty.
It's important that the Old Town's redeveloped and rejuvenated at any moment in time. Obviously in the year of culture, we want to show the best front face we can, so we want to get as many businesses into the city. It's the best time for businesses to invest because they get all that footfall, all that exposure, but well beyond 17 we want the city to thrive and be sustainable. So this isn't just about the year of culture, this is about creating a really strong, thriving community.
Officers are appealing for witnesses following an assault on Grimsby Road in Cleethorpes. The incident happened at 11 p.m. on Saturday when a 15-year-old boy asked another teenager to leave a house party. The boy took exception and allegedly struck the victim with an empty beer bottle. The victim was treated for his injuries at Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital, which included a 2 to 3 inch laceration. The suspect was arrested on suspicion of assault following the incident and has now been released on police bail pending further inquiries later this month. One of Cleethorpes' most recognisable landmarks is back on the market. Cleethorpes Pier is a regular attraction for seaside visitors, but current owners, the Huxford family, are putting the pier up for sale for an undisclosed amount. Fred brings us this report.
The iconic Cleethorpes Pier is now currently on the sale for new owners. After a £4.7 million transformation that took 2 years to complete, the pier is now up for sale for a now undisclosed amount. The former owners, the Huxford family, have said they've taken the business as far as they can go and are on the lookout for a fresh pair of hands to come and breathe new life into the pier. The Huxford family has said they're immensely proud of what they've managed to achieve with the pier over the years, especially after its restoration and refurbishment. The building is currently listed for sale with Clark Wakeman of Hull, who says it will be sold with the benefit and fixtures, including nearly £500,000 worth of kitchen equipment. The major overhaul from August last year included the creation of the 1873 restaurant, named after the pier's official opening at the height of the Victorian era. After many years of popular public use, the future of Cleethorpes Pier now sadly remains uncertain once again. From McNamara, Estuary News.
several subsidised bus services across Hull are set to change following a consultation with over 1,000 bus passengers across the city. The move will save the council £100,000 and the changes will come into force on the 30th of October. Some of the bus services that will be affected include the Service 50, the route between Maybury Road and the city centre, which will operate on a 2-hourly off-peak service, and Service number 9, the route between Dorchester Road to Kestrel Avenue. This will cease. A spokesperson from Hull City Council says that despite the changes, a reasonable service will still be provided for the majority of passengers. One of Hull's much-loved leisure centres is preparing to close its doors ahead of a multi-million-pound refurbishment and extension. Woodford Leisure Centre will close on the 30th of September for work to begin on the extension. That includes a brand new 25-metre 6-lane swimming pool and learner pool, as well as improved changing facilities. Following extensive consultation with users of the facility, local residents and visitors to last year's summer engagement roadshows, the new facilities have been designed to reflect their views. Work will commence on the centre in the middle of next month, with the project expected to be completed by early 2018. Residents across the East Riding are being asked to give their views on the Council's budget priorities at a workshop to be held in November. Those attending will have the opportunity to speak to representatives from the Council, including Council Leader Stephen Parnaby, as well as directors and senior officers. Attendees will also hear about the financial pressures the Council is facing and how they're trying to deliver top quality services under severe budget cuts. The event will take place on the 24th of November at 10 a.m. and will be held at East Riding Leisure Beverley on Flemingate. Now, a new public park in Barton has been taken over by pirates. The newly opened Pirate Park at Overton Court was put together by a local charity and is aimed at benefiting the local community by giving the younger residents in the area to play freely in. We went along to find out more.
What we've done is we had some consultation with the tenants of the area to see how we could help to improve it. And there was a really old park here previously that nobody hardly used, and it was very popular that we renew the park, which is what we've done. There's quite a few children live down in this area, a lot of young families, and it gives a focal point for the young ones to gather and enjoy it in a safe environment.
And as you can see, it's been very well received. There's quite good attendance today, so yeah, everybody's all enthusiastic and enjoying themselves.
It's the only one in the country really that's got the pirate theme, and once we'd seen it and we'd discussed it, we fell in love with it just as much as the kids have. They absolutely love it, don't they?
Yeah, and you know, it allows them to explore their imagination and sort of come up with great games on the pirate ship. It's going to keep the local community entertained in times when there's maybe not that much around the area for youngsters to do that can be managed safely.
It's a place where they can gather, where it's free, it's safe. We regularly check it, and as I say, since the official day for opening is today, but it's been open for a few weeks now and it's just been full.
North Lincolnshire Council is planning to take on 4 more community wardens to deal with parking issues and neighbourhood enforcement. The community wardens team has recently been given additional powers after becoming part of Humberside Police's Community Safety Accreditation Scheme, resulting in the need for extra support and more community wardens on the streets of the county. The scheme encourages the wardens to help deter crime within communities, working closely with local policing teams. Now fully accredited, they have greater powers that include confiscating alcohol and cigarettes from young people and requesting the contact details of a person acting in an antisocial behaviour manner. The new proposed structure would see these wardens increased to 8 and the rest of the team would stay the same. Now joining me in the studio after the break in more detail will be Darren Capp, Curriculum Manager for HE Creative and Digital at Grimsby Institute. Briefly talk to you now, Darren. How's the new term going so far?
We've got off to a flying start, thank you. We had the new cohorts at level 4 came in today, and it's the returning week for all our HE students and indeed our FE students as well this week, so it's busy for us all around, but it's going to be a good year, I feel.
Okay, so first day of term yesterday?
Today, yeah.
Some of the students come back, trickle fed yesterday, or was it just first day back completely today?
First day back today, yeah. So sort of full in really today.
Okay.
Into that we've had some mixed inductions and things going on, so it's a hectic and exciting week because it's the first time they all get to sort of see one another, see the facilities, resources and sort of start their new projects. So
I mean, starting any new phase can be very daunting and nerve-wracking, can't it? You know,
Yeah.
it's a new
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does the institute have, you know, a good welfare and that kind of thing in place to support students? 'Cause
Oh,
it's a daunting time.
We've
Very
remarkable
daunting time.
resources in place. And I think the more people know that, the more people come in and spread that word, you know, the more that's getting better and better. From my point of view, the tutors that I have on board, sort of under my remit, are incredible, you know, and the time they put in.
Good.
They're trying to get out into the community more, trying to bring more projects together, more live briefs together, and just directly feed us to industry, because that's really why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either encourage them into sort of post-grad education, or either straight into industry. That's the ultimate aim. So.
And I believe clearing is still available, which we'll talk about in more detail in part 2, Darren. So clearing is still available for students who may be feeling unsure of what they want to do.
That's right. For the next 3 weeks.
Stay with. Sorry,
still
Darren, to interrupt. Stay with me there. Join me after the break in part 2, when Dan brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking in more detail to Darren Capp. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Darren Capp joins me on the sofa as a new academic term gets underway, and all the latest news from the world of sport courtesy of Dan. Regulars at a Grimsby pub are chalking their queues to raise funds for the Pink Rose Suite at Diana, Princess of Wales Hospital. Organiser Jason Reynolds decided to raise money for the fund in support of his friend James Curtis, who is fundraising in memory of his late wife. Jason and 7 others will play pool for 24 hours, starting at 12 p.m. on Saturday until 12 p.m. the following day. The team from the 7 pubs have so far raised £110. A programme of works to improve the A&E department at Scunthorpe Hospital is to get underway. A new entrance and improved area for children is being planned, with the work due to start on the 19th of September. The project will take part in 3 phases, which will include a dedicated entrance for patients brought in by ambulance and improvements to the reception area to provide easier access for disabled patients. The work is expected to be completed by mid-December. Most of you, it's back to reality today as a new academic term starts. If you're still thinking about what you might want to do, it's not too late to study. And to tell me more, I'm delighted to welcome my guest today, Darren Capp, the Curriculum Manager for HE Creative and Digital at the Grimsby Institute.
Good evening.
Bit of a mouthful that, Darren, but a very
yeah,
worthy
I might have
title.
to correct you as well. We still sound about it's digital and creative industries.
Thank you very much for that correction. I
still seems to be some confusion in switching them words around. No, it's fine.
Darren, thank you very much for coming to the surface today.
That's my
New
pleasure.
term's got underway. How's the first day been?
Busy.
Yeah.
It always is. And the first week back in, you know, I spent most of the day telling students, you know, relax.
Yes, of
you know,
course.
it's not all going to happen at once. Let's get this week in and start rolling. And it's getting them settled and making them feel at home, introducing them to the resources and the staff. And it's going well. It's been a good day.
Now, clearing is still open. If people are still unsure what they want to do, what path they want to follow, the clearing process is still available.
It is, and I would say to the sort of local community as well, if you, because I did it, you know, I was late into education, and I came to the Grimsby Institute to get my degree a few years ago in this, you know, amazing facility.
Yes.
That it's not too late, you know. Lots of people are not sure quite what they want to do, how UCAS works, have I got the right points.
It's a bit of a minefield, isn't it?
It is a bit of a minefield, and if I'm honest, you know, it's still sort of baffles me at some times, new regulations here and there. The upshot really is, come and talk to us.
Okay.
We've got 3 weeks for that to happen.
Right, okay, so there's still 3 weeks for people to...
to come into that. After that, especially from a higher education point of view, it gets very difficult to catch those hours up once that study term starts.
Okay.
But there are options available, and there are many options available for depending on points and qualifications as you come in. So there's always something we can be doing with you, and always somewhere for you to go in your discipline. You know, and even more importantly, you might find a new discipline you didn't know we had.
Okay. So the clearing process allows for that process to happen.
Yeah.
But students, we said earlier before we went on air, Darren, that students can come and have a feel for the courses, they can take part in classes, and may decide that it, you know, may not actually be for them, but it could lead to other courses and options.
Yeah. we openly encourage that, and that's a working process we've had continually. And it depended on the academic year of when you could come in and whether staff are free. I would always accommodate that if anybody wants to come in and sit in a couple of classes, see how that's going, see how the whole thing fits together. But more importantly, what we've done this year that we've tried is, because of local catchment really, is maybe people already are not sure what they want to do or really what an HE qualification is or whether they need a degree. So again, I would encourage them to come in, and what we've done this time is, for this week, walk-in students from last Friday enrolment were encouraged to come in this week that hadn't necessarily been through the UCAS application or really knew what they wanted to do. So what we've done this time is, and it's working really well after today, is they've been allowed to come in this week and start in those classes, which does two things. It enables them to get used to the tutor. It enables to get used to the subject of what an HE qualification is.
And the people who are going to be in their classes as well.
The people that are going to mix with.
Get that right gel and that right mix.
Oh, and that's so important to get a good group together,
because you're going to be spending, a lot of time with your course peers,
well,
aren't you?
3 years for our BA programmes, which sounds like a long time, but it's not.
It flies by.
We know it's not long.
It flies by, Darren. Absolutely, it flies by. Now, the creative digital area, is that still quite a niche area, for people to train and specialise in and then ultimately lead to jobs?
Well, I mean, from my, I look after the faculty from a higher education point of view of digital and creative industries, but that itself is a huge animal, which has its tentacles in so many disciplines. By far the biggest employer and the biggest money spinner this world, this country's sort of finally catching up to that idea and seeing that money coming in. And I think sometimes it gets overlooked because disciplines like design are relatively new in education. But to be honest, now the spotlight from government is falling on creative industries. The world is asking what those jobs are, and they're coming out of the limelight a little bit.
Absolutely. So in terms of an academic establishment like the Grimsby Institute, is it a case of sometimes finding courses and setting up courses to meet the demand and the need for jobs what are out there?
At the Grimsby Institute, that's what we always look towards. It's very important, very dear to me that we service the local industry. So we have a wide array of courses. I mean, from an HE point of view, we offer creative industries, which are things like TV production and design, fine art practice, games design. We have all those courses. There are masses, too many to mention now. I just look after about 9 degrees at the moment, so there's a lot just in that industry. We offer business, education and social sciences as well. There's also, we offer higher education in sport, animal management, construction engineering.
So something to suit everybody.
Well, that's right, and I think the thing is to come in and see
and
us.
see what's available. Well,
that's right.
Darren, I wish you all the best with the new term.
Thank you.
Our future stars are out there somewhere.
I'm sure
and I wish
they
your
are.
students all the best with their studies. Thank you very much indeed, Darren.
Thank you.
Now we head across to Dan for all the latest news in the world of sport.
We'll start with a surprise news that Hull Kingston Rovers head of rugby Jamie Peacock has come out of retirement. The 38-year-old retired from playing professionally at the end of last season, having won the treble with Leeds Rhinos, but will put his boots back on to cover an injury crisis at the Robins. The club have confirmed that the former Great Britain captain is in contention to play against London Broncos on Sunday, but that he'll assess himself later in the week. He's been back doing gym work for the last 6 weeks and took to the field for a full first-team session today for the first time. It comes after 3 more players picked up injuries in Saturday's defeat to Lee, and with Maurice Blair returning to Australia to attend his brother's funeral. Meanwhile, the Red and Whites have today been linked to the signing of reigning Man of Steel Zach Hardacre, but have been told they'll have to pay a transfer fee to price him away from Leeds. The fullback is currently on a short-term deal with NRL side Penrith Panthers and is looking for a new club for 2017, according to the Hull Daily Mail today. New Grimsby Town goalkeeper Dean Henderson has been training with his new teammates for the first time today. He was one of 3 new additions on deadline day, but was away playing with England under-20s side last weekend. Meanwhile, the club's reserve side have been in action this afternoon at Blundell Park. Andrew Boyce, Tom Bollerinwa and Scott Vernon were amongst the senior pros that played in the loss to Chesterfield. On to tennis now, and Ticton's Kyle Edmund has been named in Great Britain's Davis Cup team to take on Argentina later this month. He joins Andy Murray, Dan Evans, Dom Inglot and Jamie Murray in the squad for the semi-final, following his run to the 4th round of the US Open, where he eventually lost to world number 1 Novak Djokovic. Some of the weekend's rugby union results now, and Scunthorpe beat Chester 15-12 in National League 2 North. Elsewhere, Hull Ionians beat Darlington Moden Park 16-10 in National League 1, and Hull IUFC won 20-15 away at Kendal. And finally for now, the Scunthorpe Scorpions Speedway team are preparing for the final meeting of the 2016 season. They take on Rye House at the Eddie Wright Raceway from 7:30 on Friday. And that's all from the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. If you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv. You can also phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number, 01472315553. That's 01472315553. You can also put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. As always, we very much look forward to hearing from you with any interesting news stories you have which you'd like the team to cover. Thank you very much to Darren for joining me on the surface today, and as always, thank you for watching. There are of course lots of training providers across the region, but if you are thinking of coming to the University Centre Grimsby, you can phone the number which is 01472 311 222, and there'll be friendly staff like Darren Carp able to help you and assist you with any courses you're looking to take part in. Join me same time tomorrow when I'll be enjoying a spot of poetry with Audrey Dunn as she releases her 3rd collection in her 15 poems series. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team, have a great Tuesday evening. Good evening.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. This evening it's going to see any cloud fading away, leaving a dry night and clear spells for most of it, with only light winds, the odd patch of mist or fog, and minimum temperatures of 10 degrees. Tomorrow, cloud will soon thicken through the morning, rain arriving by the afternoon, this perhaps persistent and heavy in places and continuing into the evening, with maximum temperatures of 19 degrees.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. In the headlines tonight, a perfect couple have been named after being discovered near Grimsby, appealing for an assault victim to help with police enquiries, opening the door to heritage in Hull, and how a cash injection has helped bring new life to a playing field. And I'll be enjoying a spot of poetry with my guest tonight, Audrey Dunn. Good evening, welcome to Wednesday's programme with me, Luke Adams. First tonight, a man has appeared at Grimsby Magistrates Court today after being charged with 8 offences following a firearms incident. The charge is brought against 37-year-old Richard Jackson of Ancombe Avenue in Immingham, include possessing an imitation firearm with intent to cause fear of violence, child neglect and criminal damage to property. The investigation into the incident on Monday continues, and investigation officers are still keen to speak to anyone who may have seen shots fired in Alden Close near Barnolby House. Officers also need witnesses who saw a dark blue Vauxhall Astra 52 plate allegedly driving dangerously the same day to also come forward. A perfect couple found dead at a home near Grimsby yesterday have been named. 55-year-old Stephen Arnold and 46-year-old Karen Arnold were discovered at their property in Bude Close, New Waltham, following a call to emergency services. A spokesman from Humberside Police says the deaths are not being treated as suspicious and nobody else is connected to the incident. Post-mortem examinations have been taking place today to establish how the couple died. Officers are appealing for the victim of an assault at a Grimsby pub to come forward along with witnesses. It follows an incident at the Bank pub on Monday when a man approached another man within the bar and assaulted him. It happened between 7:15 p.m. and 8:15 p.m. An altercation happened and both fell to the floor when the victim was further assaulted before door staff intervened. The offender remained in the bar and he and the victim were later involved in a further altercation in the street. A man suspected of being involved was arrested a short time later on suspicion of a fray and has been released on police bail until October pending further inquiries. The MP for Beverley and Holderness, Graham Stewart, will meet with the Chairman and Chief Executive of the Yorkshire Ambulance Service on Friday to discuss unacceptable ambulance response times in his constituency. It comes after Mr Stewart discovered that the percentage of calls responded to in under 8 minutes fell sharply across Beverley and Holderness in the first half of the year. One of his constituents was found lying on her kitchen floor in Withensea by her daughter after suffering a stroke back in June. It took 90 minutes for an ambulance to arrive, despite a target time of 19 minutes. Mr Stewart says that despite assurances from the service, the problem still remains. Now, Hull's Heritage Open Weekend gets underway tomorrow as the city celebrates its history once again. Some 69 different attractions across Hull, the East Riding and further afield in North Lincolnshire are being opened to allow the public to see more of their favourite cultural hotspots or some of the local businesses that they may not usually get to see. Amongst them are the likes of the Guildhall, the Anderson Building and the Holy Trinity Church, as well as various museums like North Lincolnshire Museum, Silby Hall and Skidby Mill. I went along earlier today to meet with the project's director of the Civic Society who run the event, John Netherwood.
Well, it's come round very much quicker than I would have expected, but it does kick off today with the launch of our Heritage Open Days in Hull. We are quite proud of our Hull events. Last year we had just about the biggest one in the country. I would claim it was the biggest programme of any city in the country, with about 115 events, open buildings, talks, guided walks around the old town, visits to factories, and the opportunity for people to look inside buildings that they wouldn't normally see.
Why are Heritage Days so important?
Well, that's a tough question, but a simple answer is that people just like heritage. They like to visit heritage buildings. Simply you can tell by the number of people that do and people that visit National Trust properties and so on. And increasingly heritage is seen as an economic driver, a driver of tourism, and tourists bring money into a city, and the City Council have recognised that by putting the whole development of heritage and tourism as a sort of number 2 in the city's 5 key strategic plans. So we do think it's important, and I think it's important for the quality of life, perhaps for young people as well, to realise where the roots of where they live have come from. Yesterday I was in Holy Trinity Church for quite a long time, hearing a talk about the excavations they've been doing in Trinity Square, and digging up 400 bodies, skeletons from medieval times, and these are all now being stored at a secret location.
And I believe the Hull Heritage Days, particularly, John, are the best in the country.
In this country, the National Heritage Open Days programme is run by a team in the National Trust in London, and they have a website which everything that is in your programme gets entered into. There's an entry for each item, in our case about 115 this year, and we can tell by looking right through all the cities in the country that Hull actually is probably the biggest of any city. Some areas like Durham, for example, do it on a county-wide basis, and it's done by the county council. In our case, it's organised by Hull Civic Society, and it's entirely funded by donations from local businesses and the city council. And of course, it's a huge volunteering effort because it requires about Well, I reckon about 250 people participating in it, either as a tour guide, as a speaker, as a person opening up a building to the public, as one of the 40-odd companies that support us financially. So it's a huge volunteering thing.
One of the new buildings being opened up this year is Marine Surveys McCausland and Turner. They opened up back in 1888 and now have offices around the world, but maintain their headquarters in Hull on the Victoria Dock. They're open on Thursday, Friday and Saturday from 11 AM, and Lee Myers from the company explains more.
Our first office was on Hull's Old High Street. We've moved around a little bit, but most recently we were on Headham Road, and within the last 3 years we've moved to the new offices on Victoria Dock. We're expanding and growing and recruiting more surveyors. We have offices in Moscow, South Africa, all over the United Kingdom. So yeah, no, we're expanding and getting bigger, and it's a growing industry that we're finding ourselves heavily involved with at the minute.
The company was named after Captain Archibald McCausland, who made his living from the sea, undergoing many years of danger before settling in Hull. Some historical documents from his time are going to be on display to the public.
He was a ship's captain of a vessel that was sailing Australia, which was carrying passengers which weren't necessarily passengers of their own free will. So he was involved with, you can read all about it, but he was involved in all sorts of massacres and slave trading and pale diving and all sorts. So yeah, it's interesting, very interesting indeed.
And while you're there, don't forget to go to the top of the tower and take a look at the stunning views across the city. A playing field in Barrow-upon-Humber has gained a new lease of life thanks to Wren. The Rotary Club of Barrow Meridian have obtained grant funding from Wren Resourcing to almost £50,000, enabling new playground equipment. Fred went along to find out more.
Approximately 2 years ago, we had the idea of putting something significant into our village of Barrow-upon-Humber. Within the village, we've got a number of other organisations who are very active, including Better Barrow and Barrow in Bloom, who are having their own sort of ideas of improving our village and community. Nobody's looking at the village playing fields. So we thought, as a Rotary Club, let's have a look at it and see what the community would like to have done. So we applied initially for a national lottery grant for Awards for All. We were successful in achieving a £10,000 grant for a consultation document, effectively. So we consulted the village. We put an activity day on these playing fields about 18 months ago, and put a lot of sort of local entertainment on, including bouncy castles, face painting, etc. And we got approximately 10% of the village coming up that day and filling in forms of what they would like to achieve, which is a very useful document which we can utilise going forward. One of the things was really pointed out was the playing field equipment. It was very, very tired. A lot of it was put in pre-2000, and you know, it was becoming a little bit unsafe. So it's highlighted to us that there was the opportunity of applying for a grant from Wren, who are an environmental body who utilise monies from the landfill tax. They actually organise for issuing monies collected from the landfill tax for good causes, with particular regard to public play parks, etc. Okay. One of the initial criteria we had to fill in is we had to be within the radius of a large landfill site. Unfortunately, we are within the radius of Winterton landfill site. So we ticked that box and we applied for funding, which is applying for projects up to £50,000. Not all that money comes from Wren. We have to collect some of the money ourselves. So we worked in close contact with the Barrow Parish Council, who effectively run this play park, effectively own and run this play park. Well, since we've actually opened it, we've been absolutely ecstatic. We wanted to open this play park at the start of the children's holidays, the summer holidays, that is. We missed it by a week because obviously it takes a little bit more time than first anticipated to bring all this equipment in. But we actually opened it second week of the summer holidays, and this play park was absolutely full. It was a fantastic response from the village, and we've had a lot of good responses. Very happy people, happy families, happy kids.
Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, perfect poetry from Audrey Dunn and all the latest sports news from Dan. People who've experienced the heartbreak of losing a baby are being encouraged to attend a remembrance ceremony. The event will be held as part of National Baby Loss Awareness Week and allows families who have experienced the death of a baby a special time to remember them. It will take place on the 8th of October at 3 p.m. at St Lawrence's Church in Scunthorpe and will be led by NLAG's lead chaplain, the Reverend Charles Thody. People who would like the name of their baby read out as part of the service can call the chaplaincy office on 01724 203 474. North Lincolnshire Council would like to speak to residents about the accommodation the council offers. An online survey has been set up giving people the opportunity to have their say on preferences when choosing a location, accommodation type and the amenities to look for when booking a holiday or short break. The survey closes on the 6th of October and can be accessed via the council's website. St Mary's Church in Beverley will open its doors to the public this Saturday as they host an open day to raise funds for their church. They're hoping to raise over £5 million to help restore some of the stonework that, without repair, could mean the church would have to close. As part of the day, the hidden priest's room is being opened up for visitors to take a look at some of the treasures within. Richard Porter is the grant manager for the church and explains one of the items that can be seen.
St Mary's has the oldest maiden's garland in the United Kingdom, and now it's dated from 1680. It's a beautiful wooden ornament, and it was painted for a family who commissioned it following the death of their daughter, who died without having had children. And if a family was wealthy enough, they could commission a maiden's garland, which would be decorated with garlands and flowers, and they would even suspend long gloves beneath, and it would process out with her funeral bier to her funeral. Very moving thing.
Local author Audrey Dunn is about to present the third collection in her 15 poems series. This time she features Loughborough, a country estate hidden among the Yorkshire Wolds. And I'm delighted to say Audrey joins me now on the sofa. Audrey, good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's very nice to be here.
Very well in the blue. Now, this is the third, as I said there in the link, the third collection in your series.
Yes.
Loughborough, I believe, particularly close to your heart because you spent about 3 years living in Loughborough, didn't you?
I did. I did what a poet does and went to Loughborough to have a getaway cottage. It was actually it's a very beautiful village.
Very idyllic.
Idyllic.
Very idyllic.
Yes.
And did you find, Audrey, that the poems which you've put down on paper this time helped draw inspiration from that time spent at Loughborough and being so immune to that area?
Well, although the Yorkshire Wolds are very different from the Lincolnshire Wolds, living in the countryside reminded me of the wonderful time I had in Lincolnshire as a child, as I grew up, of course, in Amber Hill near Boston, very flat there, but it was wonderful and it brought back those happy years for me. It really did.
Memories, yes, lots of memories. And in this book, there's 15 poems, is that correct?
15 poems.
And you're going to give it a little example of one now, aren't you?
I am,
please.
Indeed.
Okay.
Loughborough has a very nice park. I mean, a country park with a lake and hills and trees, and it's incredibly beautiful.
Okay.
And this is called To Walk in the Park.
Okay.
To walk in the quiet park, on the narrow path through the trees, inwardly watching the bird hop branch to branch in the silence. To consider one's feet on the path, how they measure the distance, step by step, twigs cracking underfoot, breaking the silence, but gently, the small, comforting sounds at the hub of life, the deep silence of small things, everyday things, tender hopes setting out, memories of the good, the face of someone you love.
Fabulous. Thank you. I feel very serene and calm all of a sudden. Now, where does the inspiration come from, Audrey, for a lot of your poems? Because it is a skill having that ability to write,
Yes.
isn't it, and be creative.
Yes.
Where does that inspiration
They
come
come from the deep creative imagination.
Which we all have one, don't we?
We all
We all
have
have a deep
one.
creative
You have
imagination.
one, I have one. Everyone out there has a creative imagination.
And some of the other poems in the book this time, that was quite a short poem, wasn't it? But some of the other poems are quite long, aren't they?
Well, they're not terribly long, but there's something to think about
Yes.
in every one, and they
it-
take you to different places.
Fantastic. And it does help you think about, doesn't it? Like, you know, if you're reading a poem, it does help you think about the world and yourself, perhaps. And
It does,
yes.
it does. And these are very green poems
green.
here.
So
Yes,
good for
green
the
is
environment.
colour. Good for the
Yeah.
environment.
And the soul, of course. Very good for the soul.
Oh, absolutely, Luke. The soul is imperative to poetry.
Absolutely.
It gets to the deep things, you see.
Now, as part of this fantastic book,
Yes.
your third poem, you're going to be releasing, you've got a launch event, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Is that at Carderma across in Hull?
It is Carderma 94, which is a splendid venue, an absolutely lovely venue. And I'm working with a flutist, Claire Holditch, and the music and the words together are something else,
So
really.
so music and words are a good fusion
And the flute.
and help balance.
Yes, it takes you off into the place of mystery.
Absolutely. Where did Claire's particular role get involved here, Audrey? How did you get Claire on board?
Well, I like to work with a musician, and with my books I've worked with another creative element. I knew of her, I'd heard her play, and I couldn't find her. And then a leaflet fell into my hands, and
Just
there
by
she
chance,
was, just by
magic.
chance.
So the
Magic.
launch event of the poetry book is
A week on Friday.
next Friday, the 16th of September, Carderma 94.
That's it.
12 noon to 2 p.m.
Yes, it's a lunchtime launch.
The book isn't hot off the press.
No.
Here we have the book, hot off the press,
Yeah.
but it's not quite available yet, is it?
No.
Is it going to be released early part of next week, isn't it?
Early next week, yes. And you'll get it in the
£5
shops. £5.
from all good booksellers
Yeah.
and online as well.
Amazon.
So plenty of places where people can get their hands on a
yes.
book. And will the books be
Waterstones will
available
always
at
get
your
it
launch,
for you.
Audrey, next week?
Pardon?
Will the book be available at your launch next week?
Absolutely. Book signing then, of
Fantastic.
course, yes.
So book signing as well as the poems.
I know there are, people both sides of the river, north and south.
Fantastic. Well,
who
Audrey,
know
it's been
my
a pleasure
work.
having you on the surface today. I'm sorry we have to cut it short. Thank you very much for coming, and I
It's a
wish you all
pleasure.
the best
Good
with
to
next
talk
week.
to you.
Now, Dan brings us all the latest news from the world of sport.
Grimsby Town have announced a new partnership today to build their new stadium off Peaks Parkway. Extreme Leisure will assist in the development of the new stadium and leisure development in the town. One of the proposals currently being considered is to have a new purpose-built ice rink at the leisure complex, which will also include shops, leisure facilities and the 14,000-seater stadium. Elsewhere, the Hull City players will start to filter back to training over the next couple of days. Abel Hernandez played the last quarter of an hour of Uruguay's 4-0 win over Paraguay last night. He replaced Barcelona's Luis Suarez and is likely to be the final City player back at their training base in Cottingham. Prior to that, he was an unused substitute in his country's World Cup qualifier against Argentina. Scotland's Robert Snodgrass, fresh from his maiden international hat-trick, will also return with his teammates Andrew Robertson and new signing David Marshall. Fellow new boy Marcus Henriksen joined Norwegian teammate Adama Diamande in their 3-0 loss to Germany, while Ahmed El Mohammadi was an unused sub in Johannesburg last night for Egypt. Scunthorpe United chairman Peter Swan has expressed his pleasure at his side's start to the new season. He says he's delighted with how well his players have carried over their form from the back end of last year and is pleased with how the new signings have bedded in. Hull FC coach Lee Radford has recalled his big guns for Friday's game against the Wigan Warriors. Gareth Ellis, Mark Sneed and Danny Houghton have all been recalled in place of Jack Downs, Jordan Abdul and Curtis Norton. It says the Black and Whites look to put in a strong performance for their last 3 games of the Super 8s before the knockout phase of the playoff begins. And finally on to cricket, Yorkshire County Cricket Club have announced today that Scarborough will play host to 2 county championship games again next summer. The announcement comes ahead of the side looking to win their 3rd title in a row with just 2 games to go after the current one, which is against Durham. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages, or email news@estuary.tv, or phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number 01472315553. You can also put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, Dean 345BQ. As always, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much to my guest today, Audrey Dunn, for joining me on the sofa and sharing a poem with me. As always, thank you for watching her launch event next Friday, Cadoma 94 in Hull, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Join me same time tomorrow when I'll be joined by Russ Litton and of course yourselves. Have a great Wednesday evening from all of us on the team. Good evening.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby. With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. In the headlines tonight, a Scunthorpe sexual assault, an alleged abduction in East Yorkshire, rushing for colour, and hundreds of motorbikes are revving up to descend on Hull. And I'll be talking lyrical with my guest tonight, Russ Litton. Good evening, welcome to Thursday's programme with me, Luke Adams. First tonight, officers are investigating reports a schoolgirl was sexually assaulted by a man in Scunthorpe. The incident happened at around 8:20 a.m. yesterday morning when the 15-year-old victim was walking through an alleyway from Queensway towards Old Brumby Street when she was assaulted from behind by a man. She fell to the floor and the man sexually assaulted her, here and off when she struggled. The offender is described as white, around 6 foot tall, of skinny build, aged 40 to 50 years old and with grey blonde hair. A spokesman from Humberside Police says incidents of this kind are rare, but the incident is nevertheless being treated as very seriously. Police are investigating and appealing for witnesses following an alleged attempted abduction in South Cave, East Yorkshire. A 41-year-old woman was walking her dog on Church Hill at around 8 p.m. yesterday when a man grabbed her and dragged her down a chalk path. The woman managed to escape and reported the incident to the police. She suffered grazes and has been left shaken by the incident. The man may have been using a white or grey van, which the woman passed prior to the alleged incident. Enquiries are now underway to secure the evidence as part of the investigation. A post-mortem examination on the bodies of a couple who were found dead at their property has revealed that Stephen Arnold murdered his wife before committing suicide. 55-year-old Mr Arnold and his 46-year-old wife died in the incident at Bude Close in New Waltham on Tuesday. Specially trained officers are continuing to support the family and detectives are preparing a file for the coroner. No one else has been linked to the deaths. This weekend marks the second Cleethorpes Colour Run, where more than 2,000 people have already signed up for the event. It will take place on Sunday. Organisers of the event now tell us what's in store.
We are here to promote the fantastic Cleethorpes Colour Run that's backed by popular demand at the Meridian Showground on the 11th of September.
It's basically a celebration of all the fantastic things that's happening in our resort. Cleethorpes and North East Lincolnshire is really going places now, so as event organisers we wanted to sort of extend the season and just showcase how fabulous the resort is by getting everyone out, participating in outdoor activities. We're using the coast as part of the 5k run, so you can come and join in, hop, skip, walk, jog, whichever you want to do. So it's about taking part, family fun, and it's just a celebration of all the great things that's happening, and having some fun while getting blasted with a load of coloured powder paint at the same time.
I represent Marshall Mini in Grimsby, and it was something we wanted to get involved with last year, but circumstances meant that we didn't, so it was something we were really keen to be involved with this year. I think the colour run itself represents the Mini brand really well, and that it's fun and people want to get involved, and that's what our Mini customers really enjoy, and it's something that suits our brand, so that's why we really wanted to get involved and work with the local community as well, and with Visit Cleethorpes.
As part of the event, one of the best things is the final end finish, which we've got lots of family fun happening. We've got better days presenting lots of different types of genres of music, having an end of festival with lots of colour being chucked around. So we'd love everybody to come and take part. We'd love everybody to come and take part, whether you're spectating, whether you're participating. It really is a great place to come and live, work, invest and visit. So a lot of momentum happening in the area, so please come and support on the day, Sunday the 11th. If you would like to buy your tickets, it's for all ages, all abilities, and you can get these from the Cleethorpes Tourist Information Centre or online.
A buyer for Cleethorpes Pier is yet to be found, despite a number of interested parties coming forward. The venue went up for sale on Monday for an undisclosed amount by its current owners, the Huxford family, who say they've reluctantly decided to sell up but hope it will thrive in the years to come under new ownership. The historic building reopened last summer following a 2-year transformation to the tune of over £4 million. The pier was named as Pier of the Year this year by the National Piers Society. Hull's Ferrens Art Gallery has received a rare piece of art from the late Ian Askew, whose grandfathers lived and worked in the city. The impressive portrait of Maria and her dog Silvio dates back to 1777 and was painted by Joseph Wright, one of the most distinguished 18th century British landscape and portrait painters. It's his first piece of work to enter Hull's collection and will form a major highlight of the Ferrens redisplays when the gallery opens in January. It's currently undergoing a £4 million refurbishment programme. Councillor Terry Geraghty says the council are extremely grateful to Askew for his kind donation to the gallery, and the painting is an excellent addition to the important historical collection held by the gallery. North Lincolnshire Council's Action Station is continuing to provide free job application workshops that focus on applying for jobs within the council. The team will work with people aged 16 and above, supporting them to improve their prospects of finding work and track down the best training for their needs. The sessions will run at the Action Station on Cole Street in Scunthorpe from the 16th of September until November at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. More information can be found by calling 01724 296 969. Residents across the East Riding are being asked to give their views on the council's budget priorities at a workshop to be held in November. Those attending will have the opportunity to speak to representatives from the council, including Councillor Stephen Parnaby, as well as directors and senior officers. Attendees will also hear about the financial pressures the council is facing and how they're trying to deliver top quality services under severe budget cuts. The event takes place on the 24th of November at 10 a.m. and will be held at East Riding Leisure, Beverley on Flemingate. Now, this Sunday, hundreds of motorcycles will descend on Hull's RSPCA Centre. It will be the 12th year that the motorbike show will take place at their base on Clough Road, as they look to raise funds to keep the centre open and helping animals in need. I went along a little earlier today to meet one of the dogs that will benefit from the event. It's hoped that raising money by putting on events like the motorcycle show will help to save more cats, rabbits and dogs like Bob. He's one of their longest serving residents.
This is Bob, and he come to us a couple of months ago when his owner was actually unable to cope. He actually went to prison, so he could no longer look after him. So when he first come to us, he was a little bit of a handful, so we had to work with him. He now learns basic commands like sit, paw and wait. And he's coming along really well. I says he does like playing ball out on the back. I says as long as you get him to sit before you throw it, and he'll quite happily go and grab it and bring it back to you. But due to his size, we wouldn't have him go with really young children, just simply because of how playful he can be. So from children aged 15 plus for him, just literally his size. The way he can jump up sometimes can be an issue with really small children. But as you can see, he'll do anything for food. Good boy.
He really hates being in the
boy.
kennel environment. We've had to play audio tapes for him 24/7 to keep his stress levels down. But within a home, he's so chilled out. He's a wonderful dog. He would be better just being a pet on his own with a single person or a couple. And I think that would be best for him, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. He would settle a lot quickly that way.
Malcolm Baker has been to many of the bike shows and says it's an occasion he always looks forward to in the calendar.
I have been coming for a long while. Don't ask me how long, I don't know. It's just one of those things you do. You just come and, it's a regular, it's in the calendar and you go to it. It's all about animal welfare, isn't it? If you can do something to help, and that's what we do. You just bring your donations or your food or whatever, and just help out.
Somewhere in the region of 250 to 265 bikes entering the competition. And there's prizes for best in class, second and third, and then there's a trophy for best in show. During the show itself, we've got trade stands, all motorbike related. We've got race bikes that have just been to the Isle of Man. Those bikes are fabulously expensive. If people want to come along and be wowed by expensive bikes, then Revit Red Team will be here. And we've got other stalls. We've got the local allotments association who bring their produce and sell it, which is fabulous. That's really nice. We've got RSPCA stalls. And then, of course, we've got our food, which is legendary. And we raise somewhere between £3,500 to £4,000 in the day for the Animal Centre, which is fabulous.
The money you raise from the show on Sunday,
yes.
Where will that money go? Will it benefit the centre we're seeing here today?
Yes, it certainly does. It all stays at the Hull and East Riding Centre on Clough Road in Hull. The animals need an awful lot of veterinary care. There's always buildings that need upgrading. There's always loads of stuff that needs doing and replacing, and just on an everyday basis. Food, that costs an awful lot. All your sort of ancillary costs, your telephone and all that type of thing. And we have a fabulous team of staff, and we've got loads of wonderful volunteers as well that come and help us.
A four-day festival celebrating the best of British contemporary songwriters is about to come to Hull later this month. Russ Litton joins me on the sofa now to tell me a little bit about it. Russ, it's a seminal event, isn't it?
I hope it will become that, yes.
First year this year?
First year, inaugural year. We've got Sean Rather from Happy Mondays,
okay.
Jason Williamson, Sleaford Mods, Viv Albertine from the Slits, and Pauline Black from the Selector. And we'll be finishing with a live acoustic set from Michael Ed.
Okay, and you're the link between all these acts, aren't you?
I am. I'll be chairing
the
it, and I'll be the compare, yeah, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. And Pauline Black, quite a big name in the ska world.
Ska, yeah.
Ska world. There we go. And she's come in to be part of this festival. So
yes,
you've got some great names on board.
Yeah,
we're
it's
really
the
happy
first
with
event.
the lineup. We'll talk about it in more detail in a sec.
Okay.
Coming to Hull on the 22nd to the 25th of September, isn't it?
Inclusive, yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, we'll stay there. Join me after the break then, when Dan brings us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking in more detail to Russ Litton about a forthcoming music festival in Hull. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, I'll be talking lyrical with Russ Litton, and Dan has all the latest sports news. A group of students from Grimsby Franklin College have been getting hands-on experience in hospital over the summer holidays. From witnessing live surgery in theatres to helping out on the ward, students spent a month on a clinical internship as part of their studies through the Career Ready programme. The hands-on programme aims to raise young people's aspirations and bridge the gap between education and work by giving access to real experience in the place of work. 9 students from the college took part in the programme, spending time in paediatrics, theatres and out on the wards. They're now about to start their second year of A-levels. East Riding Council is looking to recruit new foster carers, particularly for children aged from 5 to 15. An event will be held on the 20th of September at the Ticton Grange Hotel near Beverley at 6 p.m, where people will have the opportunity to talk to fostering social workers and discuss suitability, meet foster carers and their birth children, and talk to looked after young people and hear about their experiences. Dave Glenville, the council's fostering team leader, says the council are particularly looking for people who care about children and young people who need help, care and support at difficult times in their lives. Lyrical is about to make us sing along, a 4-day festival celebrating the best of contemporary British songwriters in Hull. To tell me more about it, I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Russ Litton. Thank you very much for coming in, Russ.
Thanks for having me.
The inaugural event, why did you set this up?
Well, myself and Shane Rhodes were talking about how we sort of got into literature and poetry through music, you know, through songwriters. I was always into like lyrics by bands like The Jam and The Clash and The Pistols.
Fantastic groups.
That era, yeah, and then the two-tone thing. So we thought, you know, I mean, Shane and myself organise the Umber Mouth Festival every year. So we thought it'd be a good idea just to get people from that world rather than strictly from the world of literature.
Okay. And you've got some good names on board for this event. I see, as we said earlier, we have Pauline Black, Viv Alberton, Jason Williamson. How did you manage to coerce them into getting involved with this project?
Well, Jason, I emailed his manager. I tried to publish some of Jason's lyrics, and I had the idea of doing it a while ago when they first sort of came out, and that happened with another publisher. But I had his manager's email, so I just shot him the idea. Pauline Black, we were literally out in Hull having a drink, and we bumped into her tour manager, and she was the last person we got. So that
Fantastic,
was quite fortuitous. Sean Rader was headlining on the Friday night. We had Alan McGee last year for the Umber Mouth Festival, and he manages the Happy Mondays now, so dropped him a line. And Viv Albertine was through somebody I knew at Faber, who published their book.
So it's all come together.
So we just pulled in a load of contacts and that. We went to Hull Library and the James Reckitt Trust who funded the entire thing. So a big shout out to them.
Big shout out to them for all their help,
for all their money,
for their hard work and their money, but your hard work as well for managing to get this project off the ground, and now finally see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Great work involved.
We've also got Michael Head on the last night, who's probably Britain's greatest songwriter that no one's ever heard of, but he was in the band called the Pale Fountains and the band called Shack. He's from Liverpool, and he's written some absolutely brilliant songs. He's going to be giving an acoustic performance to finish off on the last night.
Okay, so what's the premise, Russ, of the actual event? Because you're the linker, you're the compere, aren't you? So is this a case of you sitting down with these acts?
Yeah, I'll just be sitting down and chatting to them about the work, about how they see their music fitting in the sort of pantheon of British, songwriters. Anything they want to chat about, really. I'm sure Sean will want to talk about UFOs. I'll be talking to Pauline Black about Rock Against Racism, I think, because she was at the forefront of all that sort of thing. I'll be talking about punk rock with Viv Albertine and probably, contemporary society with Jason. We've tried to go for someone from the 70s with Viv, 80s with Pauline Black, Sean Ryder's the 90s, and Jason Williamson is the present day.
Fantastic. So Russ, going right across, the musical board, as you say, from the 70s right through to the 90s, so there'll be something to appeal to everybody.
Something for everyone, yes.
Yeah. And obviously music's very eclectic. There's hundreds of genres out there. Ska's, a particular, would you say a niche genre?
Ska? I don't know. There was a big. It was massive in the 60s with the skinheads, wasn't it, in England? It was the music that mutated into reggae, wasn't it?
That's it.
And it was. It enjoyed a big revival in the late 70s, which was my era. So I'll be very interested to talk to Pauline about that.
Fantastic. Now, most importantly, tell us when this event is taking place.
22nd to the 25th of September, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday night. And you can get tickets from hullboxoffice.co.uk. we're confined to 200 people every night. It's going to be in the library, but we're going to be transforming it. We're going to put a bar in and move all the mills and bones out the way and put a loads of seats in.
So this is the whole central library?
Whole central library.
The main library, as you go into the library on the left-hand side. Okay. So quite an intimate space then, isn't it?
Yeah, we're restricted to 200 people per night, so I'd advise people to get clicking and get the tickets.
Okay. And is there a cost to this? What will it cost people?
It's £12 a ticket, but if you're unemployed, a student or member of the NHS, £10.
Okay.
You can also buy a 4-day ticket for £35. We're giving it away, Luke.
Fantastic. You've sold me. I am sold.
Get yourself down, man.
Sold to the man in the green jacket. Now, on the last night, it's an acoustic session, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Michael Ed is, if you like the Beatles, Burt Bacharach, Nick Drake, that sort of stuff, is very melodic sort of singer-songwriter. He should by rights have been bigger than Noel Gallagher, but he had a bit of bad fortune, a bit of bad luck with record companies through the years. But he's much respected by his peers. People like Gallagher and Ashcroft and those people. They all cite Michael Ed as being like the granddaddy of British songwriting.
Absolutely, and Bacharach, a hugely influential name in the world of British music. He's worked with some of the greats over the years, hasn't he?
And Cilla Black.
A huge fan myself. And Dusty Springfield.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Russ, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks,
and I wish you all the best with the event later this month.
Bless you.
Thank you very much indeed. Now we head across to Dan, who brings us all the latest news in the world of sport.
We'll start with the breaking news that, according to reports, the sale of Hull City is off. It was understood that the Premier League were undertaking due diligence on the members of the China and Hong Kong-based consortium, but it's now being reported that the deal won't happen. We'll be speaking to the club's current caretaker manager, Mike Phelan, tomorrow, so we'll bring you more as we get it. Grimsby Town striker Sean Tewton took part in training today, but will have to wait to be assessed over his availability for Saturday. Manager Paul Hurst says he's desperate to play, but will make a decision tomorrow. Here's what he had to say when asked if he was fit to take on league leaders Luton Town.
I think he wants to be, and often that's half the battle. But at the same time, sometimes with some players you have to sort of kick him out of the door, others you have to sort of push him back in. I think he's certainly the latter. But that's the type of lads I want. That's what I think all managers want, is people that are willing to give it a go, and he certainly is. So I'll give him every opportunity, but in the end, it might be a decision that I take out of his hands.
Meanwhile, Hurst confirmed that James McEwen will remain in goal for the game against Luton, while Caden Jackson is fit enough to come back into the side. Scunthorpe United manager Graham Alexander says there's still more to come from his squad, despite their strong start to the League One season. The Iron take on Southend United on Saturday in buoyant mood.
I feel we've done well with the games that we've had. I think the performance level has been high, except probably for the last game that we had against Port Vale, but there were reasons for that, which we've looked into. But the effort and the commitment from the players has been superb, and 10 points from the first 5 games is a good return, but it's definitely something that we feel we can improve on, and the staff and players feel the same on that.
FC head coach Lee Radford says Wigan are the most physical side his players will come up against this season, but Radford believes his side are the likely winners if they play to their potential. The second versus third place game takes place tomorrow night at the KCOM Stadium and is the first home game since their Challenge Cup win a fortnight ago. And that's all for the sport.
Thanks very much, Dan. That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv. You can also phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number 01472315553. 01472315553. You can also put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN345BQ. As always, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much to my guest today, Russ Litton, for joining me on the sofa, and as always, thank you for watching. Just time to quickly tell you, Lyrical kicks off Thursday the 22nd of September, running through to Sunday the 23rd of September, starting 7:30. As we said earlier, a 4-day festival celebrating the best of contemporary British songwriters at the Hull Central Library. Tickets from £10. Join me same time tomorrow when I'll be reviewing the week's papers with my guest Royce Coates. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team, have a great Thursday evening. See you tomorrow live at 5:30.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. A dry and fine evening with some late sunny spells in places before dusk, remaining dry overnight with variable amounts of cloud. Winds will be light and easterly, minimum temperatures of 11 degrees. Tomorrow mostly dry and cloudy initially, but rain quickly spreading northeast across all parts, becoming heavy and persistent. Rain possibly clearing by dusk, but followed by showers, feeling cooler, becoming windy, and maximum temperatures of 18 degrees.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.